You've probably seen these home decor tips over and over again on social media. Hang large format wall art instead of a tiny picture. Stainless steel is a great choice for kitchen countertop. Replace family photos with wall art for a magazine-worthy home. Make your home look expensive on a budget. However, as an architect, I disagree with all four of them, and I have good reasons. I'm gonna elaborate in this video, and maybe by the end of this video, you could have a new perspective. And I'm putting my most controversial takes at the end of this video because very few people watch till the end and I won't get too much backlash. Okay, the first one is about the size of the wall art. You probably have seen this tip on social media where people talk about, oh, you need a large wall art. Go larger, you can never go wrong. Or do a gallery wall, different sizes, but make them cohesive. Yes. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with this tip, but we're in a recession. Large wall arts are not cheap. Same goes for a gallery wall. So my take of this is that small wall art is perfectly fine. In fact, we are already seeing trends on social media where tiny artworks are placed in rooms and they look great. But it has to be strategically placed. Let me explain. In the traditional Chinese paintings, there's a technique called 留白. It means to leave void in a space. The void itself is part of the art, and we can apply this in today's wall decor. The tiny painting you hang on the wall is only part of it. The entire wall in this context is the canvas. This works the best when you have an empty wall where nothing's going on there, or a few things on the wall that create a geometric relationship. The best example of this is Emily Bodie's kitchen, where the tiny artwork, the cabinet, and the basket formed a composition that reminds us of a modern art. Another way of doing this is to put it in front of bookshelves. Again, it's essentially modern composition, but this time the entire bookshelf is the canvas, and this method works the best when the bookshelves occupy the entire wall and you have enough books to fill the bookshelves. Okay, the second one is about stainless steel being a great choice for kitchen countertop. It's a good choice, but it's not great. Stainless steel kitchens do look amazing on social media, but there's a catch. Most of them use vibration finish stainless steel only. The vibration finish is a finish that shows micro scratches all over the surface that makes the panel look raw and unpolished. Therefore, it hides the wear and tear a bit better, and it creates this weathered vintage look. Other finishes like brushed or mirror finish are water stain and fingerprint magnets. Because of that, many of the stainless steel panels come with a layer of anti-fingerprint coating, but when you use it after a while, the coating would peel off. Stainless steel is, however, a great material for kitchen cabinets. I'm talking about building the cabinets entirely by stainless steel. It doesn't expand or deform like solid wood. It doesn't get termites and easy to clean. Alright, the third one is about making your home magazine worthy. I think we all know by now that magazine photos of anyone's home is not reality. It is a standard practice in the industry when a project finishes that the architect or interior designer will participate in a staging for photo shoots for publications, if there is one. That being said, I have problems with suggestions like, oh, if you want your home to look magazine-worthy, you better replace your family photos with wall art. I think it's a bad take. Homes on magazines don't show family photos because of privacy concerns, not really because the homeowners never hang their family photos on the walls. Home should be a safe space dedicated to the owner's personal interest, instead of some decorator's art preference. As an architect, I never ask my clients to take down their family photos because it's the designer's job and challenge to make it work instead of removing it and avoiding it. Okay, the last one is about making your home look expensive on a budget. People are probably going to come for me for saying this, but making anything look expensive on a budget is almost impossible. Looking expensive is a combination of a lot of things: capital, environment, psychology, material, social status, creativity, culture, and taste. It is tied to sociology more than anything, in my opinion. It is so unattainable that we are still talking about it every day, which I find fascinating. But I have to say, the tips offered in these videos are mostly helpful. They will certainly help your home look thoughtfully curated. And I think most of the viewers of this type of videos understand that, yeah, we don't actually want to look expensive, literally. We just want our homes to look a bit better. And I think that's a healthy attitude. The thing I don't understand is that under a topic like this, the suggestions always include, oh, you need to use natural materials. These are expensive materials. Anyway, I just find that the suggestion of using natural materials doesn't really align with the topic of budgeting. Then they would suggest, oh, you can always thrift.
Be honest.
I am being honest.
Guys, in 2025, shopping vintage is not something you can save money on. Even if you find something affordable and nice, it is time consuming. Time is money. And then we have the DIYs. DIY is great as a hobby. I do DIYs too, and I watch a lot of DIY videos, but none of the DIYs make me go, oh, this looks expensive. And they often did a great job, actually.
Be honest.
I am being honest.
But they just look like well-executed DIYs. And that's fine. But when they imply that these will make people's home look expensive, I'm sorry, I really don't see it. Thank you so much for staying till the end. If you are interested in makeover on a budget, here is a video of a dorm room makeover by me using only IKEA.